Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am in Saranac Lake, New York, and we're here to hike Mount Marcy as a guys weekend. It's a trip we've tried to do a few times. This is the fourth time we've booked this trip. We've always canceled because of weather, but we're hoping to get it in this time. You've seen other videos of us here in Saranac Lake, and I'm very fortunate as a guy in my 40s without kids that I get to do a lot of these weekends where I get away with friends. I've been asked in the past, like, how do you plan a good weekend away? Whether it's a guy's trip or a girl's trip with just friends, trip with other couples. I do believe there are some ways to do this and ways not to do this. And I figured I'd share 10 tips that I have for planning weekends like this because I've done so many. Tip number one is you want to plan these trips around an anchoring activity. Could be a golf trip, could be a skiing trip, could be a hiking trip like this one, but you want to have one activity planned that everybody's coming out to do, and that really kind of sets the weekend. You've got that one event that everybody's looking forward to. You do not want to plan out every minute of the trip, but you do want to have the, hey, we're going to play golf on this day, or hey, we're going to go hike this mountain, or we're going to New York to see this show. Having that anchoring event sets the tone of the weekend and it sets the theme of the weekend. Tip number two, put together the right group of people. So it's great, and that's actually a lot of fun to put together different parts of your life. So you might put together some high school friends with some friends from work, with some friends from college. That's great, but you want to make sure that you're putting together the right people for that trip. You really want to know your audience, and you shouldn't be put off if people say no. We all have a lot going on in our lives. Somebody may want to be there and they just can't make it, so don't be put off if somebody says no. Tip three, pick one platform for communicating. So we've been guilty of this in the past as well, where we've had 3 separate communication chains for the same weekends. We might have text message, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram all going at the same time. Pick one platform, that's how you're messaging each other, and that way nobody misses any of the group text that's going on. Tip number 4 is just to be cognizant of reality. So what are the age of the people going? What are their needs? What's their budget? You do want to plan around these things. So don't plan in the same weekend that you planned at 25 when you're in your mid 40s. You can do a lot of those things, but not for as long. So you want to be aware of that. If people have physical limitations, maybe a bad back, this guy, there are going to be some certain things that those people won't be able to do, so you just want to be upfront of that. Also, as you age, everybody's economic reality changes a little bit, and there can be a pretty wide gap. So you just want to be upfront. You want to have one-on-one conversations with people versus in the group text of like, hey, is $100 a night for the Airbnb per person? Okay, people are more willing to raise their hand and object in those one-on-one conversations versus asking in the group setting. And then the last bit, and this is just something here, like I have a rule, I need a bed. I'm not sleeping on the floor, I'm not sleeping on a blow-up mattress. You just, as you age, your needs change, right? Like maybe you want a coffee maker. Maybe you need a hot tub because it's a ski trip. Just being cognizant of like those needs and those wants as you plan this trip is absolutely essential. Tip 5, I've seen some trips really go off the deep end where arbitrary rules get set. So don't set rules like, hey, no calling home. Hey, no photos. Like that's stuff that is like lore of bachelor parties. But the reality is people are going to want to call home and call their kids. And that's great. You shouldn't have rules like that. You shouldn't have rules that like everybody has to go play 36 rounds of golf. Maybe people don't want to. Maybe people are happy just playing 18. That's great. Let them do their own thing. You're not there to follow a bunch of rules for the weekend. You're all adults, so no arbitrary rules. Tip 6, realize that this is a vacation for people, right? Not everybody's gonna wanna be with the group 24/7 throughout the whole weekend. Maybe a guy just wants to step aside and have a coffee and read a book for a couple hours in a coffee shop. Allow time for that sort of thing. People recharge in different ways, and this is a vacation and you want people to have that freedom and not be ostracized because they wanna go have some solo time. So just make allowance for that and realize it's everybody's vacation. Tip 7, choosing the same location year on year can be great. That can be your anchoring thing. Like Saranac Lake, I don't have no idea how many times we've been out here. This could be the 10th or 12th time. Like we come out here every year in March and then normally in the summer. We love this town. There's a bar here that we absolutely adore. So we come to the same place, but changing it up can be great too. So ask the group what they want to do. Maybe you can find a spot like this that's in the middle of everybody that you come to every year to enjoy, but maybe you want to switch it up. Tip 8 is a follow-on to tip 7. You will get better attendance if the location is drivable. You just will. People are gonna wanna bring their own cars so they can leave if they need to. Stuff comes up, work comes up, family stuff comes up. Not everybody's gonna wanna get on an airplane to fly to Nashville for the weekend. Not everybody has the financial means to do that, but you can carpool in cars, right? So you will get better attendance if your weekend is drivable. Tip 9, give people plenty of notice, but not too much. So what I mean by that is if you ask people if they're free in a year, they have no clue, right? They may sign up and you may think that person's a shoo-in, and then life happens. A work trip comes up, their wife has to go out of town on a trip so they can't make it. So I like to plan 6 months in advance. That tends to give people enough notice they can plan around, but they also kind of have a view of how does 6 months from now look? They may not lock in 100%, but that's a little bit more manageable. So 3 to 6 months is when you want to start planning or including people. Now, if you're going to a place where stuff books a year out, you need to ask yourself if you're comfortable just going ahead and booking that Airbnb and then making up the group later. I've done that a number of times. It does involve a little bit of financial risk for the planner, but ultimately you should be able to find a group that's willing to go, especially if you're doing recurring trips. People will look forward to those year on year. And my last tip, tip 10, is you will also get better attendance if you plan it around a long weekend. It is irrational to think that you and your friends in your 40s are gonna have a week to just go chill with each other. And frankly, you'd probably be sick of each other by then. But a long weekend, going out on a Thursday, so you've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and coming home Sunday, that's doable for a lot of people, especially if it's drivable. And it's even more doable if you've got a long weekend from work. You'll also get better attendance if you book it around an existing company holiday. Not making people burn PTO or paid time off for one of these weekends will also increase the likelihood that other people will come to it. All right, that's it. I hope you found those tips helpful in planning your own weekend. This trip should be posted after this video, but in the coming weeks, so look out for it. If you want to see another video that we planned here in Saranac Lake, you can click here. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.